afternoon, everyone. Just kidding, you guys lunch. I had the first class first thing in the morning where everyone was still asleep, and now I got the first class after lunch where everyone's still trying to figure out what the heck's going on for lunch. So, all right. So a couple of concepts that we're going to be going over today is primarily rearrangement concept, which from what I hear, just confirm, touched on a little bit, as well as sequence restriction. I was there for your class, but I was teaching mine, and then also Mr. Eckhart covered it as well. In regards to the formulation process of the rearrangement concept, right? So at its base, when we have a rearrangement concept, we're talking about taking a set technique or a set sequence of motion and then moving things around, right? I won't go into too much detail because one has already been covered in a couple other classes, and then two, platforms, right? To do this kind of stuff. So if we're talking about the rearrangement concept, right? We have delayed sword, delayed chop, right? So PKI get into this. If I switch the names around, please forgive me. Right, I'm living in two different worlds here, so forgive me. All right, so delayed chop, right? We're taking this drop back to your right neutral bow, inward block, kick, and then hand sword, crossover, cover out, right? And so we're going to label these A, B, and C, right? So as I'm going through this, it's a lot easier to for the student. I find if you label them with letters, not numbers, because people have a tendency to want to count a lot more. 1, 2, 3, right? Versus if you label them A, B, C, we automatically rearrange those and stuff like that when we're talking about putting together words, right? Obviously, rearrange numbers as well. We're talking about that kind of stuff, but still, it's a little bit of a disconnect that students have that I find a little bit easier than going through. Okay. And we'll get to a little bit later on. Okay. So let's say Mr. Sting, can I borrow you? Okay. So let's say I need a response to something else going on. I don't necessarily have time to do it. Okay. So this grab comes in, I don't have time to step back with this block because this punch is coming in, so instead I drive back into this, right? That kick, my B, right? B, A, C. Then I can cover out, right? So that's base rearrangement concept as we're talking about. Mr. Eckhart, he was discussing more formulation phase when we're getting into it. We're talking about inserts and add-ons and leading things and all these different things that we made mention of, okay? So, with that concept, let's go on to a little bit more of an advanced technique and then look at some of the rearrangement concept within it. So, making hands is what we're going to be doing. So, on a body, right? Grab up here. We're going to step drag back into the pat. I'm going through this just base technique because there's a lot of different variations within this room, right? So we'll just go through the base technique, make sure that we're all on the same page. Just because you guys are doing it differently, I'm not saying mine's better or anything like that, just different, right? So just making sure we're on the same page, at least for what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so we're going to step drag back into cat stance. This chamber's in for a chicken kick, so I'm going to right foot forward, cat stance. Chicken kick to the groin. And then midsection and or groin, depending on how I want to attack the opponent, okay? Now, I'm going to step back in, uplifting heel palms into the ribs, brings the head down a little bit. This comes up into heel palm with the claw, outward breaking back knuckle. As I come into a twist stance, drive down, number 4 plane, brings them into play a little bit more as I can unwind and thrust hand sword into collarbone, side of the neck, something along those lines. Okay? So that's the base technique. We'll go through in the air a couple times and I'll just get you guys working on bodies a little bit, alright? Let's do it. Okay? So, 2-hand wrist grab. Step slight back, drawing to the cat. Kick, kick, uplifting heel palms. Raise, back knuckle, twisting, thrusting down, keeping them in play. Unwind, outward hand sword, and we're covering out. Any questions on that? We'll go through it once or twice more, but any questions thus far? Okay, all right, once more. So, they grab, pull back, kick, kick, lift, twist with the thrust, unwind, hand sword, and cover out. No questions still? Yes.
Can you show what happens after this?
Certainly. Okay. On body?
Either way.
Either way? Okay, so come in from here, pull, kick, kick, lift. Now from here, this is coming outward breaking heel palm, as this is outward breaking back knuckle, drop. Okay? I'm glad you clarified that because there's something we're going to get into with it later on. Okay? So over here. Yeah? Any other questions? Good one, thank you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, grab our partner. Try back forward. Thrusting down into the hip, keeping that middle leg. Okay? Good. Now, right here. Now, bring the head down. There you go. Now your chamber. Did it again. Oh, now all right, break. Any questions on the base techniques? Good. Okay. So, one of the biggest benefits that I've always found from some of these seminars, honestly, is working with different bodies, different schools, stuff like that, and seeing different ways people do things, right? So, I'm not saying that one way is better than the other or anything like that. It's just different, an opportunity to work out with someone else, see how they move. So, use that, leverage that. I'll be cycling you guys out, different partners, all that kind of stuff. So that way we can work with each other, okay? So, that being said, now let's look at the re-ranging concept a little bit on this, okay? So, traditional, where you're just running through, I come down with the pull. Target the thumbs so that way I can break this grip. Now, let's say they're holding a little bit tighter, right? Preventing us from coming out into this. Now, granted, if you're employing this correctly and you're coming to the thumbs, I have a real hard time making it so I can't do this. But let's just, for the sake of argument, maybe I'm of a different stature or anything along those lines, right? I'm having difficulty trying to get this, right? Maybe I add the kicks first, right? So on one, and change the timing so that second one is now kicking as I'm clearing. That makes sense? Yeah? Okay, so now we're taking A and B, switching them. Or for the more black belt level, I'm taking the B portion and then overlapping A on top of it on the tail end. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, let's go. Let's practice it a couple of times. Like that time.
Don't move.
Oh, I'm saying you gotta drop Alright, great. Any questions on that? Okay, so we're taking a different piece of the technique, inserting it or overlapping it to the front end using the rearrangement concept, so that way we can change the timing depending on the situation or what's going on with my opponent, right? Now, let's look at bridging into actual sequence rescripting, okay? So sequence rescripting is taking the same motion that I'm already applying and then changing the meaning in which it's applied on my opponent, okay? So, this is what I'll mean. So we have my base technique that I'm going through. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Now, next move was here, correct? Okay, so let's say they got a punch on it. Straight, whatever it may be. Right, so 1, 2, big lift, and then this punch comes in, I take this same motion that I was just applying, now this is changed from a heel pump, block to a parry with this extended up or vertical block, and then I can drive down. This is why I said it can work on either side, right? So if he throws this side, 1, 2, I'm just using my base technique that I was already in position for. If he throws the other side, I can still go through the rest of my technique. Okay, so it's the same thing, but now I'm employing this instead of an offensive maneuver with a heel palm and a rake. Now we're applying this as a parry and a vertical block. Okay, so this is a very embryonic stage of sequence rescripting, but we're going to get to a little bit more advanced stuff later on. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice that a bunch or a couple of times. Change up your partners if you have not already. See you. You're throwing a punch. Depends on where they're probably not going to get into the neck. We might apply this.
So you're actually coming out of the strong. Instead of outside.